Yo, so if you go to community college, if you want to transfer to a top university like an Ivy League school, like a UC Berkeley, like a UCLA, well, to get into those schools, your community college GPA really doesn't matter that much. It's not going to be the consequential factor that's going to be the make or break scenario if you get in or not. So I was in your position. I went to community college. I ended up transferring to UC Berkeley. I graduated from UC Berkeley now. And looking back in hindsight, my whole fixation on keeping a perfect GPA, on getting all A's, was pretty stupid. So I think I ended up transferring from community college with a 3.9. I was entirely sad in the two classes, I believe, that I got an A minus. I thought it was donezo. I thought my chances of getting into like a UCLA, UC Berkeley were over. And I thought my second chance at redeeming myself, of making my family proud, and showing to myself that I'm capable of getting into a top university was over. But it wasn't. I was perfectly fine and I transferred out. So if you're fixated on your community college GPA, well, don't. So there's two reasons why I say this. So the first reason is that simply your community college essays, your transfer admission essays, they matter so much more. So anybody could have a high GPA in community college. But what's going to differentiate you against the competition from other applicants that might have your same GPA or even higher is your essays. So your essays are basically your resume. It's going to show you what type of person you are. It's going to show you why you want to go to this university. It's going to show you the extracurriculars that you might have done at community college too. And this is the make or break. You can't replace not having good essays with a high GPA. You just can't do that. You need to have good essays. You could maybe supplement good essays with maybe like a lower GPA, a not perfect GPA, like a 3.8, 3.7. And all this depending the major that you're applying for, the school that you're applying for. But your essays, they're make or break. And you should be focusing all your time on these essays. You should be focusing months in advance of what do I want to say, because these essays aren't really essays. They're really just like short blurbs of describing who you are very quickly. So you have to be very precise in every sentence that you write. So focus on them. Focus on them every night. Focus all your time on these essays, please. Because looking at in hindsight, what got me into these universities were my essays. I spent so much time, and to this day, I really think these were the best essays I've ever written, ever. So focus on your essays more than your GPA. Secondly, so I don't know why, this is so dumb. I don't know why this actually is a thing, but once you finally transfer to your university, your community college GPA is pretty irrelevant. So your university that you go to now doesn't care about your community college GPA anymore. It's basically in the trash. So, and also for when you're applying for internships, when you have your resume and you show your GPA, you're technically only supposed to put your GPA of the university that you go to now. Yes, you could have like underneath it your community college GPA and like your community college like credentials as well, but these two things are supposed to be split up, because for some reason there's a stigma that community college classes are easier than university classes. But although some classes might be easier, they're not always a walk in the park. The major classes for like engineering classes, for CS classes, they're difficult. They're not that easy, but they want them split up. So your community college GPA basically goes to zero. It sucks. You're starting from zero. All your 2 years that you put in on having a high GPA is pretty irrelevant anymore. And you have to start all over. You got to start from scratch. And this sucked for me because my first semester at university was pretty bad. I think I ended up getting like below a 3.0. So I had to have on my resume that I had like a 2 point something. So this is something that you should know, and this is the moral thing to do. This is what they want you to do, to split them up. I know some people just don't split them up, they just combine their GPAs, which you could probably get away with it, but if a company that you're applying to asks you about this and it's somewhat deceitful, they might get really mad about this. They might blacklist you from applying, and that might be it for that application. So up to you if you want to split up these GPAs, but the expectation is that you have your GPA from community college and then you have your GPA from university. So all in total, if you want to transfer to a top university, your community college GPA does not matter all that much. Yes, it does matter. Like, try to have a 3.7 and above if you're applying to a very competitive school. But the difference between a 3.8 and a 3.9 is not going to be that deal breaker. What's going to be deal breaker are your essays, because these colleges want to know you. They don't care about your GPA all that much. That's just to get you through the door. But if you want them to commit to a relationship with you and accept you, you got to do well in your essays. So that's my rant. Don't worry so much about your GPA. Don't fixate so much of your worries on this. Fixate that on your essays instead. So with that, sub up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.